Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Caravan of Garbage, where we're talking about the Steve Rogers Captain America trilogy. We're talking about it. Everyone's talking about it.
Everyone's talking about it. We're Rogering up a storm.
Please leave a like, because of course we are talking about Captain America the Winter Soldier from 2014. I just wish there was a new MCU movie which was as good as this.
Well, too bad. They ran out of steam. They got the conveyor belt going.
Yeah.
And they were just like, let's start churning them out. We cannot miss anymore. We cannot lose. People will watch these no matter what. No, we haven't miscalculated here. Oh, wait, yes, we have.
I'm sick of hearing this upcoming show has shades of the Winter Soldier, but it's never.
No.
Maybe they'll do the color palette.
Yeah, sure.
But it doesn't feel like this at all.
Let me ask you this. Upon a rewatch, does the Winter Soldier live up to the Winter Soldier?
Yeah, it's better than I remember it being,
absolutely.
and I always liked it.
Something that doesn't work, I think this is Steve Rogers' worst hair.
Whoa!
I don't know if
This might be his real hair.
I was going to say,
this is Chris Evans' real hair, potentially.
I don't know if this is Chris Evans' real hair. I know a wig is not uncommon in the Steve Rogers Captain America look. I don't know. I think he's come out of the ice and he's gotten adjusted to modern day, and he's like, you know what, frosted tips. And I think he's wrong. He's made a mistake.
And you know why I know that I think this movie is good? In this movie, unlike other solo or spin-off movies, I'm not like, where's Iron Man?
Right.
Where's Thor?
Sure.
Couldn't Thor kill the Winter Soldier? Yes.
Easily. One twist of his head.
Yep.
You know, just, oh, what's that, a gun? How intriguing. That does tickle, actually. And now I've turned your head all the way.
I gotta say, in the lead up to this, I wasn't expecting much. I heard an interview with Anthony Mackie where he was like, this is kind of like Avengers 1.5. And I'm like, I don't really want Avengers 1.5. Right. I want Avengers 2, man.
Yeah, Age of Ultron.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
It's okay.
It's okay. So, you know, the Russo brothers came on board. People might have known them from You, Me, and Dupree. But they got hired off the back of a couple episodes of Community. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Because the action in that is incredible and it translates here.
And Troy and Abed had that knife fight.
They
remember?
did.
That's where we got the iconic drop the knife in your other hand and do a big stab.
God, man. The fighting in this is incredible. Captain America's beating up has never been better.
Well, yeah, he's fully embraced, as we talked about last week, he's fully embraced combat styles of the modern era.
Yeah, front kicking a man right off a boat.
It's that sequence where he just runs the length of the boat from stern to bow and just kicks a bunch of dudes to their foamy, wet deaths.
I mean,
beautiful.
Their rib cages are crushed before they hit the water.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, it is over.
I think there'd be enough life left in their eyes to know they're going to drown them.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, they know that's happening. What I find really interesting about this is the fighting in this takes inspiration from the game Captain America Super Soldier, which is pretty much the Arkham combat. Like, that was a purposeful thing.
Is that the one set in World War II?
Yeah. So the idea is that they don't want it to be just like punch, punch, kick, kick.
Old school fighting. Yep.
Yeah, to be like, you know, he's got combos and maneuvers and you'll block your weird punch and hit you real hard.
Yeah.
In a different and weird, cool way. Yeah. Anyway, the story in this, it's basically, is the government the bad guys? Is it full of fascists? Could that be possible?
I mean, jury's still out, isn't it?
I think it's wonderful. And I know they always talk about the comparison between this and like the political espionage thrillers from the 70s. Like a Robert Redford might do, for example.
Oh my goodness, he was the king of those.
He really was.
3 Days of the Condor.
And that's how you know this is a real movie. Because he's in it.
For a bit.
With his big fake teeth and his blonde hair.
Right.
I'm a big fan. I like him a lot. He doesn't really act much anymore. One of the last things he did was a cameo in Endgame. Like, he came back.
He?
Yeah, he came back for that. I don't know why.
Did he emerge from a portal? Is that what you're talking about?
No, because they went back.
Oh, they went back in time, didn't
to
they? Right.
2012 Avengers and whatever, and he was there. It was in the aftermath of it all, yeah. They couldn't get Powers Booth, who died, I assume. So they went,
true. Who's
the second best person to Powers Booth we can get?
That Australian guy from the OC.
That's a good idea.
Alan Dale?
Alan Dale. He cops it in this, doesn't he?
Really does.
Badge melts.
Yeah.
Damn. He cops it in a lot of stuff. He died in the OC. Probably some other stuff. Do you remember? I think he had a heart attack and fell into a pool. I don't know.
What a way to go.
But yeah, the twists and turns in this, it does change the MCU. But I don't know whether a lot of that even carries over, though. Because, you know, in the next Avengers movie, after Nick Fury throws away his eye patch and pretends that he died, he just shows up in a helicarrier. So, like, does this really mean anything? You know, I don't know. I don't know if it does. But, you know, as a contained story, and, you know, it bleeds over into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know, you find out some people in there are Hydra and whatever and all of that. So, yeah, it is all happening. But Nick Fury in this, there's so much compelling Nick Fury stuff.
Well, he
this.
finally gets an action sequence. Really.
Oh,
I mean, he fired that missile at the wrong plane.
Yeah, he did.
In Avengers 1.
Yeah.
Embarrassing for him. So he has to redeem himself now. But again, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
I've asked this before on our podcast, The Weekly Planet.
Great plug.
What's that gun for? The gun in the center console.
Okay.
What's it for? Is it for shooting people? Ordinarily, because what he does, he's being attacked from all sides, from the outside, and then he waits for the bad guys to break his bulletproof windows, and then he pulls the gun out of the center console and he riddles them all with bullets on the outside.
Yeah.
Ordinarily, is that for shooting people inside the car?
I guess it is.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I assume like the front window would pop out or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not really sure what that car can do. It certainly can't fly.
It could have.
Well, it could have. I do like that whole sequence is him just trying to get that car to do anything, namely fly, and it doesn't. It doesn't fly, and he's just really annoyed the entire time. It's an incredible action sequence.
I mean, I'm just saying there should be some guns on the outside.
No, you're right, there probably is, right?
Yeah, maybe.
But they're all fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's you put the gun in the center console because people won't search through your center console. You know
Oh,
what
that's
I mean?
a good point. Yeah,
because that's private.
It's rude.
It's rude. I got coins in there.
You got coins in there, man.
I got mints.
You got mints in there?
Yeah.
Mince meat?
Yeah, mince meat.
Oh, no.
Yeah. My private reserve of mince meat.
Now, look, this is a video for another day, though we have talked about it. I thought Secret Invasion was going to be this kind of shit.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, he knows stuff because he knows 1,000 Skrulls. That's boring.
Yeah.
And it also makes this worse. Because, like, yeah, he fakes his death by using a thing and slows his heart or whatever. But the answer in hindsight is, it's probably just a Skrull.
Right.
They're all Skrulls. He's a Skrull.
Doesn't that make it very convenient for later movies, though? We could say anybody's a Skrull.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's great.
It is great.
Anyway, speaking of disguise and intrigue, who was that man in glasses and the baseball hat walking around with Black Widow in the mall?
Oh, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone in disguise in the Marvel Universe ever.
But this is the first, right?
Maybe.
This is the first?
Maybe?
Yeah.
Fashions haven't held up that well, have they?
They certainly haven't, no.
I mean, at the time, we all thought we looked fine.
We all looked good.
Yeah.
We didn't. What aren't you liking about his fashions that he's doing? I don't know if his clothes were ever really fashionable. I think he's trying to, like, do a 40s aesthetic by using boxy clothes from 2014.
Yeah,
That's
right,
kind of what it feels like to me.
Sure.
Like a leather jacket and chinos or whatever he's wearing. I don't know. It's just not quite coming together.
Not gelling for you.
No. No. Now, Peggy Carter's in this, of course. As opposed to being de-aged, which everybody gets done in this, they re-age, I think the word is.
Okay. Getting older and
Getting older and yeah, that's right. And often they'll do that with makeup. That's like the standard thing to do. But this is using that technology.
They made her old.
They made her old and like hollowed out her face.
They took her to the beach that makes you
Oh,
old.
no, that's a bad place. Don't go there. But they hollow out like her face and kind of, because when you put on old person makeup, you have to build upon somebody's face. But look, I think this is the perfect time to talk about who was Peggy Carter's husband. I know
It's
we
Steve
talked
Rogers. It's still Steve Rogers. Because, look, and I don't mean
Okay.
like, dementia is
You say your thing and then I'll say my thing.
Okay. Dementia is a very serious issue.
Yeah.
But I'm saying also it's a handy technique here to say that she's forgotten that she was married to Steve Rogers. Because as we recall in the last one of these, he went back in time using a different button.
Yep.
And therefore he went back in time to this universe and married her.
That's something you said.
That's
and
something
look, there
I
is a
said.
prime timeline. We know that from like Loki and Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what happened here. First of all, they were going to reveal it in Agent Carter, but they never got to it.
Oh, yeah, right.
There's a love interest or a couple of love interests in that.
Okay.
Fuck those guys, quite frankly.
It's
I don't mind that show, but I don't want to hear about it, Mason.
You sepia-toned losers. Get out of here.
So, screenwriters Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, who worked on both Captain America the Winter Soldier and Endgame, stated that it was their intention for Steve Rogers to be the father of Peggy's children.
Okay. Sperm going back in time.
Good sperm this time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Propulsive.
Though the directors of this, they disagree. They think my theory of the separate timeline situation.
Okay, all right.
I think you can kind of merge the two. I think if Steve Rogers is her husband, and he could be, that's a Captain America from another universe who skipped over into this one, not the original.
Yeah, that technically makes more sense. Yeah, but I don't like that. That's the thing. I don't like that. And I don't think anybody
Doesn't matter if
like
you
that.
like it, mate. It's irrelevant.
I think if you go back in time in this universe and you don't change anything, it doesn't diverge into another universe.
They have a literal conversation about it in Endgame where they're like, that is not the rules though, right?
Maybe. We haven't gotten there yet in this rewatch, so
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
you're right, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure if you go back in time and you don't change anything, if it's the way it was going to be anyway. So if he keeps his head down and he doesn't stop anything bad, like 9/11, he should be fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
You think he facilitated it?
No! I mean, I guess you can't rule it out.
Okay, think about this then, right?
Yes.
Let's say he is the husband. A version of him is the husband. It doesn't
Okay.
matter who, right? That would mean that Steve Rogers being married to Peggy Carter is the great uncle of Sharon Carter.
Whom he smooched.
Yeah, whom he smooched. Now, bearing in mind, he wouldn't know that yet at this point in his history.
Correct, yes.
But that's crook, mate. Even though they're probably not blood related, I still think that's ordinary.
Do you think that's why she became the power broker? If in fact she did do that in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes, I think that is what happened here.
Yeah.
God. Anyway, we haven't solved that.
No.
There are multiple theories.
Yes.
People are going to be like, it's obviously this. But look, it's not obviously anything.
Right? None of this is real. It can be whatever you want.
No, but it's the thing that I said.
No, I think I choose the other one. Because it's nicer.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's two random Steves and Peggy's going, well, I guess we get married.
Yeah.
I knew a version of you from another universe, I guess. Whatever. I'm Hydra Cap, by the way. I'm a Nazi.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good as any.
Yeah. Still got those pecs? All right then. It's
Right.
fine. Yeah.
I'll help you do 9/11, Steve Rogers.
No.
So anyway, Falcon is in this. You mentioned Falcon the Winter Soldier. I think they're cowards for not giving him bird telekinesis.
Oh, yeah. Or telepathy? Which one does he have?
Whatever it is, I don't know. Yeah, it's
Okay,
telepathy. You're right. Yeah. And they end up giving him a drone.
They do, yeah.
Everybody's got a drone, man.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? That's not important or
Right.
fun.
Yeah.
Wings are fun. I will say that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's no Iron Man suit.
No, that's true. A lot of vulnerable spots. His entire body, except the bits covered by, like, the straps.
Yeah.
But even then, still not.
Remember when the Winter Soldier picked him apart in like a second?
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Oh, no, you got me in my one vulnerable spot. My very vulnerable wings. Or any other part of my body, honestly. But you know what? Kudos for the designer of the Falcon wings for giving him a parachute.
Absolutely.
Rhodey could have done with a parachute.
He definitely could have done with a parachute. You're saying that's Tony Stark's fault.
Yes.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? But yeah, Bucky is in this.
Oh, spoilers.
Well,
You
it's-
mean in flashbacks, right? From the 40s?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Yeah. But also, there's another character that shows up, a mysterious...
A mysterious stranger of
This
some
mysterious
sort?
assassin.
Wow.
Who wears a mask for some of it.
I tell you what, if Bucky were around, he'd give that guy a solid right hook.
You reckon he would?
I reckon he would.
And then the guy would kill him immediately.
Yeah, that's right. He'd turn his head all the way around.
What I love about the Winter Soldier in this, he's such an A to B to C killer. There's no flash or pizzazz. He's like, what's the quickest way I can hurt this person?
Right,
You know, there's no empathy. It's just like a Terminator just running at you.
This gun is empty. Luckily, I have 5 more guns.
That's right.
Luckily, I've got a guy to hand me guns.
Now, we obviously knew this going in. It's a famous story from the
Bible.
from Marvel Comics and the Bible. If you didn't know this, there's no way you wouldn't figure this out, right? Before it happened, because at the start it's like Captain America had a best friend and he disappeared,
Right.
and they were best friends, and he misses him every day, and he wants him back, but you know he can't come back because he died in the ice 60 years ago. And how would you even get out of that?
He fell a bit down a train and then he disappeared. They never recovered a body, which means he's dead. So, I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
James, this is a political thriller.
It's not about the twist, is what
No,
you're
it's
saying?
exactly, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. It's not about the twist, it's about the fist.
No, that's true.
His big steel fist.
Yeah, man.
I will say though, his arm, it's not as useful as it is in the comic books. Like in the comics, he can just fly around
He
on
can
its own,
fly.
you know what I mean?
Can it fly and he hangs onto it, or it's attached to his shoulder and he just like zips him
Inspector
around?
Gadget style,
Yeah,
with a
like
helicopter
Inspector
blade.
Gadget, yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Okay, you would say so.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got, like an electromagnetic pulse generator and
Sure.
et cetera, you know.
I mean, it does develop as the movies go on, right?
Does it?
I mean, it loses a star. I know that.
That's true.
It becomes Wakandan.
Yeah.
You can put it in the dishwasher. That's pretty good.
That is good, actually,
Yeah. The action in this, though, not just the Bucky stuff, is incredible. That elevator fight, these fight sequences and action sequences, they're not just good for a comic book movie,
No.
which is...
The greatest praise we can give,
I
honestly.
think so, yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
good for a good movie.
they're good for a good movie. The bit where he's in the elevator and even, like, it doesn't even last for that long, but he's one arm pinned and he's just fucking kicking dudes in the head and, like, it's crazy. Apparently that is a nod to Die Hard 3. Remember the bit where John McClane's in the elevator and takes out all those dudes?
Yeah, right.
Love that.
Also, you know what, fellas? You put too many guys in that elevator. I reckon you would have had a better shot with fewer guys.
Completely agree.
Honestly.
You can't all hit him, can you?
You're getting in each other's ways,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep, that's a good point.
Yeah.
The highway sequence is incredible. Also, the Black Widow stuff in this is so great. They should give her her own movie a year after this came out. Don't you think?
I think that.
Oh, on the highway there's a minigun.
I mean, sure.
Time for Mesa's minigun minute. Mesa, he's got a thing to say about a minigun.
Okay, it looks pretty cool.
Yep.
It's cool looking. Fires a lot of bullets. Doesn't really hit anybody.
No. It does tear through some stuff. You happy with that?
Tear through some stuff. That's not bad.
Yep.
But again, it's not a real minigun. It's just a fake thing they made for the movie. So 0 out of 10.
Damn, fake thing for a fake movie. Fuck you all.
That's right.
That whole sequence, it's kind of a chase and a fight, and like they're on the back foot the entire time. I mean, the hand-to-hand stuff with Captain America. I mean, you mentioned the knife catch, the bit where like
Jasper Sitwell, you know.
Oh, just obliterated.
What an undignified end for an awful man. You know what I mean?
Agree, yeah.
Did he get a Marvel one shot?
He did, yeah.
Okay.
Like,
was he secretly evil in it?
No, I don't. He's always kind of been a little bit sinister.
That's true, yeah.
But yeah, you know,
it's just Jasper Sitwell goes down the
No,
shops.
he was a shady fella. Yeah.
He went to one of those give a penny, take a penny things at the counter,
And he gave a penny, yeah?
No, he took several pennies.
Oh,
Yeah, didn't even need them.
that doesn't sit well with me, Mason. But I liked when he got hit by that truck.
Yeah, me too.
Nearly as much as that guy who got kicked into that fucking propeller. The Quinjet or whatever.
Yeah.
That's good stuff,
I mean,
Mason.
that's the modern day equivalent of kicking somebody into a propeller, because you can't do that these days.
No, you really
no
can't.
propellers anywhere.
Nah, man.
I mean, you got to kick them into a freeway.
Yeah. One of my favorite just little action moments in where Captain America runs in and he just hits him with a flying fucking knee. Do you remember that bit?
Yeah.
God! Great stuff.
Tremendous.
Yeah. Anyway, Zola's in this. Great use of Zola. I do kind of wish he had the big smashy body.
Right.
But, you know, I'll take it. This is a fun reference, right?
Yeah. Do you think he's dead for good? I mean, it depends whether Toby Jones wants to come back or they need him for another thing, in which case they backed him up.
Yeah,
They backed him up on a jazz drive in the early 2000s.
He's probably not. Is he even any flashbacks or something? Did they visit him again in like Endgame when they time travel?
I don't think so,
I don't
no.
remember. Also, Captain America watched War Games, I guess.
Sure.
Great. Well, speaking of, there's a moment in this movie
Go on.
which is region specific.
Oh, there is
You know
too.
about this, right?
So, well, people perhaps outside of the US aren't aware of this, but right at the start of the movie, we see Steve Rogers' little book of all the things people have told him to catch up with, you know, all the relevant cultural moments.
There's some stuff that is there and is universal. Like I think Star Wars is everywhere. I think, and some other bits.
But
and
for
pieces.
people who don't know this, if you didn't perhaps see it in cinemas, it's a region-specific list. One of the few times they've done this, I don't know if they've ever done it again.
Yeah.
Where depending on where you live, this is true. Depending on where you live, they CGI'd out some of the American references and put in references that were culturally significant to the country you saw the movie in.
It was so weird because I remember sitting in cinemas and being like, some of these are so specific.
Yeah.
Like this cannot be universal.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if you can get these anymore, but we've got a list.
We do have the list. So, for example, in Australia, you know, it had the band AC/DC, you know, a band founded in Australia.
They had Blinky Bill.
They had Hey Hey It's Saturday.
They had Darebin Station.
They had Franco Cozzo Furniture.
They had David Tench Tonight.
They had Larry Emder.
Did they?
Yeah.
I don't remember that one. They had Punch in a Dart.
Wow. They had the Hills Hoist washing line.
They had race car driver Peter Brock's car that had healing crystals in it.
They had the film Red Dog.
They had Tandy Electronics.
Wow, they had Smorgies.
They had AC Cola.
They had that ad where the kid sings, call 13 30 32.
They had Buffalo Bill.
They had the Sarah Marie Bum Dance.
They had the 90s TV game show Amazing.
They had Gloria Jean's Coffee.
They had Skip Hop.
They had Muffin Break Coffee.
They had one of those hats with corks on it to shoo away flies.
They had Goon of Fortune.
They had the smell of a catastrophic bushfire.
They had Con the Fruiterer.
They had punching a kangaroo in the muzzle.
Let it go, dogs, let's go. They had that Prime Minister who went for a swim in the ocean and disappeared and nobody cared.
I had that. And they named the pool after
Well, yeah, because
him.
it's on the list. They had Australian Idol runner-up Lee Harding's Wasabi.
They had the movie Reckless Kelly.
It had learning the very specific dance that Australians and only Australians do at weddings to the song Nutbush City Limits.
They had the Energizer Man.
They had the Auntie Donna sketch Bikey Wars, which I believe came out in 2014.
Interesting. They had pretending you're a relaxed, laid-back nation, but really you're a nation of fucking cops telling on each other all the time.
They had Richie Benno.
They had first Australian Idol runner-up and Jimmy Barnes knockoff Shannon Knoll.
They had the 12th man's impression of Richie Benno. Simply marvellous.
They had Angry Anderson's 1991 AFL Grand Final performance of Bound for Glory.
Where he was driving the Batmobile.
He was driving the Batmobile, yeah.
They had Dougie the Pizza Boy.
They did. They had saying she'll be right to something that's probably not right when you're too scared to display vulnerability or admit that you don't know how to fix something.
They had pointing at a really weird guy and saying to your friend, that's your best mate.
They had Barnacle Bill.
They had La Porchetta.
They had universal healthcare.
They had Round the Twist.
They had Crocodile Dundee. 3.
They had Drazik from Heartbreak High.
Oh!
Yep.
They had an Italian restaurant where the owner comes out to your table and does what seems like 5 minutes of outdated stand-up, but you can't leave because you're already ordered, plus he's got this really weird, threatening vibe. And sure, he's kind of old and out of shape, and you probably could take him in a fight, but what, are you going to fight this guy? I mean, how's that going to look? It's just going to be awkward.
They had Norman Gunston.
Did they?
Yep.
They had Blue Healers, both the show and the dog.
Wow. They had John Batchelor, the actor who plays the guy who shouts Rodney. Here it is. One more time.
Rodney! 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 Rodney!
They had the Murray River.
They had Agro's Cartoon Connection.
They had the Murray River Cod.
They had the Mully Grubs.
They had Pete Murray.
They had that one McDonald's that's Art Deco for some reason.
They had Red Rooster, but they called it Red Rooter.
Nice. They had Eric Banner, but only as his character Poiter.
They had not wanting to catch up with an old schoolmate for a beer because you know you don't really have anything to say to each other anymore. But you do it anyway, and you both end up drinking a bunch in the hope of cutting through the awkwardness, and it sort of works in the end. And then you both promise to do it again soon, which you're obligated to do.
They had Burjo's catchphrase.
Ooh, they had the Ferals.
They had David Wenham in Sea Change.
They had Australia's Naughtiest Home Videos hosted by Doug Mulray.
I have Australia's Naughtiest Home Videos hosted by Doug Mulray because it's on the list. He was told to check out that radio ad that goes, "Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles."
They had Budgie Smugglers.
They had the Warner Brothers Movie World Police Academy stunt show.
Ooh, that's a good one. They had Getting Bit by Something, and it's probably nothing you reckon, but it could have been one of those spiders that kills you.
It had dacking someone and or being dacked.
They had Trying to Remember If We Have Any Dinosaurs of Note, brackets, we don't.
They had The Humble Flat White.
They had Tony Abbott eating an unpeeled onion.
Is it common to eat a raw onion?
No, it's not common, unfortunately. I wish it was, and certainly not with the skin on. Personally, I would peel it first, but mad props to the PM.
They had the dog on the tucker box.
They had being a YouTuber/podcaster in a community of people who don't know what that is or what it entails. So when they ask you what you do, they have no follow-up questions, or they have too many questions, but it's mostly about how much money you have.
They had mixed netball.
They had ignoring the sense of anxiety that comes with knowing that your nation was founded on an indigenous genocide.
They had that time Tony Martin and Mick Malloy did a man on the street interview about changing the national anthem, and the guy said that the Australian flag should be a bum with a fist coming out of it.
You know, one with like a, it's just like a bum with a fist coming out of it.
They had seeing a good-looking woman and then going to your mate, Pwah!
They had eating a dim sim and or a Chico roll.
They had Hot Christmas.
They had the Weekly Planet podcast, which started in 2013.
Whoa!
That's right. And I don't know if you know this, James, but in the Australian version, Sam doesn't recommend to Steve the soundtrack to the movie Trouble Man.
No.
Produced and performed by the legendary Marvin Gaye. Instead, he recommends the Rodney Root comedy album Your Mum's Bum. How much of that is staying in? Who knows?
Probably most of it.
Yeah, right.
Look, Captain America gets his suit back at the end, doesn't he?
That's true. The best one, probably.
Probably
Although I
is.
like the version in this. I like
like
the
it too,
minimalist
yeah.
aesthetic. I like that they black the shield out for covert operations.
Absolutely.
Or it's a new shield. I don't know.
No,
it's
it
again,
is.
It's okay, right.
It's the same one,
Okay.
I believe, yeah.
Okay. You think he's got a guy to do that?
He would have to, yeah.
Okay.
Tactical guy.
Yeah. Black this up for me.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
I don't know what to say. I'm not from now. But yeah, I think, that final moment with him and Bucky and, making him realize that he doesn't really fully realize who he is, but he knows something's amiss. Like, why isn't this guy killing me when he could? But that moment where he manages, like, he breaks his arm and, like, pins his other arm and, like, chokes him out, like, that's all really good stuff, Mason.
It's intense.
It is intense.
Yeah.
It's really good. And look, like I said, I just think I wish the ramifications of this, like, ran deeper. Like, all these organizations and S.H.I.E.L.D. and etc., they all just... I don't know, they'll branch off and continue, and there's Space Shield and whatever else is going on now. And again, Nick Fury fakes his death, but he's done that before or after this, like it's just not... He's so interesting in this, and then he's just not that interesting ever again.
Well, because he had his one interesting moment.
He did.
We're still talking about it, aren't we?
We are talking about that. Is true.
He could never get that car to fly.
No, that's right, yeah. And even in Age of Ultron, they're just like, so this is one of the last Hydra bases. Let's go get it. And then they do. And then those people are there who are in the post-credits of this. I'm talking about Scarlet Witch and Kraven the Hunter. They're both in the post-credits for this movie, Mason. Yeah, my goodness. Anyways, do you know what it's time for?
What's the time for?
So for Trivia America, The Winter Soldier. This is the trivia section of the show where we talk about just little bits and pieces.
I love little bits and pieces.
And you're going to love this. Sebastian Stan was contracted for 9 films, but according to him, when production for this began, he wasn't told which of the films he was going to be incorporated into. He only realized he was playing the role of the Winter Soldier when the title was formally revealed at San Diego Comic-Con in 2013.
It's like, so much work.
I know.
I thought I was going to be flashback guy the whole time.
Oh, man.
I thought I was going to do 8 more flashback sequences where I'm like, don't give up, little Steve.
Yeah.
You can do it, little Steve. You can do a push-up, little Steve.
We're friends, little Steve.
I'll never forget you, little Steve. Yes, I'll get that can off the top shelf for you, little Steve.
This is also the last live-action role of Gary Shandling, R.I.P.
Right, yeah.
He's fun in this. I mean, he's a Nazi, but he's fun. I like him. He's in Iron Man 2. They actually shut down 3 miles of freeway for the highway chase sequence in Cleveland.
Oh, so they didn't build a new. They didn't build a new highway.
No, they didn't.
Okay, well that's
because often they'll build a section of a highway and green screen it out or whatever.
Matrix Reloaded.
Matrix Reloaded. Probably Deadpool. The highway in Deadpool.
Maybe.
Probably.
I think that's just one bit of styrofoam. They just used over and over
yeah. I mean, it's funny though. Remember that bit where he goes, "Ugh, my balls."
Yes.
That's great.
I think it is funny.
It's great.
It is great.
That's my sense of humor. Hawkeye was going to appear in this.
Go on.
But it ended up being like, this is too many people, and it kind of clashed with whatever Jeremy Renner was doing. Probably a Bourne prequel, whatever the hell he was up to.
He's probably refining that app.
That's probably true, yeah. And being like, can I be the next Ethan Hunt? No, you can't.
You think he's coming back for the last one?
I would love him to.
I would love him to as well.
He should. Mm-hmm. But will he? I don't know.
Yeah. Also, the Winter Soldier can kill him with one punch.
100%. Well, he wasn't going to go after the Winter Soldier. He was going to go after Captain America on behalf of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh.
And they fight for a bit. And it says that Hawkeye was going to lose intentionally. Yeah. And then whisper to him that, you're being monitored. There's a tracker in the suit. And that's another reason why he ends up getting rid of the suit.
Yeah, right.
Do you know the Punisher is in this? But not really.
Let me figure this out.
Okay.
Do you mean Thomas Jane Punisher?
No.
Do you mean Ray Stevenson Punisher?
No.
Is he a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent? Is he an anonymous S.H.I.E.L.D. agent?
No, you would have guessed it eventually.
Oh, yeah. If I just named everything in a comic book ever.
There's a truck.
Or named every character in this.
Or truck. Because there's a truck in this.
Uh-huh.
It's a Penske truck.
And the Punisher is the truck?
Yeah, it's a big truck. He skipped over from the Cars universe, where the Punisher is a big yellow truck. So, once in that Nick Fury action sequence, and it's also the truck that kills Sitwell. Right?
Okay.
ComingSoon.net, they asked the Russos if there are any cameos in this. And Joe Russo said, the man that drives the truck, apparently said this deadpan. He said, he's very highly trained, he thinks on his own terms, he's got plans and a very specific skill set. But it's not really. It's just a theory that people...
Yeah.
What, he killed Sitwell on purpose? I don't think so, which means he did it by accident.
He did it by accident. He's like, and he doesn't know anything about Jasper Sitwell, so he's like, I killed this...
Yeah.
This poor man who was coming from work.
I don't think he would have been too cut up about it, to be honest. Oh, yeah, Nick Fury's grave. It's got the thing of the Path of the Righteous Man, Pulp Fiction, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, it says Captain America should watch Star Wars and Pulp Fiction, but isn't Samuel L. Jackson, isn't he? Yep. That's true.
Just as a side note, though, as well, is that I know, James, I know we love to laugh.
We do.
If you look at the real Australian version in the...
Yeah.
Who was he talking to? Like, in the context of the story, was he talking to, like, an Australian bartender?
Yes.
He's like, you gotta listen to Whispering Jack by John Farnham. It's got You're the Voice on it.
You should listen to that,
Yeah,
though. That
yeah,
is
yeah.
true.
yeah.
The box office for this, on a budget of $177 million, it made $714.4 million. Pretty good for a solo movie, you know what I mean? Pretty good for Avengers 1.5.
That's right.
And every week, of course, we're talking about Chris Evans' pay. Now, last week we mentioned that he got $300,000 for the first Avengers movie. We don't know officially what he got for this, but we do know for the Avengers he got $3 million.
Okay.
And then for Age of Ultron he got something like 6.9. So I would say probably 4 or 5 for this. I'd imagine.
Maybe he did it for free.
Yeah, he probably did it for free, which is why they gave him his worst hair.
That's right.
I think it's all right.
Okay.
I think it makes sense. It looks good on him. Keeping it high and tight, Mason.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. But of course, not everybody gets paid fairly in these Marvel movies.
Excuse me?
Well, Ed Brubaker, he is, of course, credited with co-creating the Winter Soldier character
That's correct, yes.
with artist Steve Epting.
Yes, so he didn't create Bucky, obviously.
No.
That was whoever this guy is.
Look at him.
Sitting at his drawing table, he's all in black and white. He's like, I'm going to get $4 for this.
And he did.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Good day for him.
That's his 21st birthday, this picture of this guy. Do you know that?
That's amazing.
That's true.
But of course, Brubaker and Epting did, in the modern era, decide that he didn't die in World War II, but in fact survived to the modern era as sort of a mind-controlled Soviet assassin.
Great storyline.
Agreed.
Maybe we covered it at bigsandwich.co.
They also...
We did.
Yeah, that's true. They also made the sort of the retcon that... Because in the comic books, Bucky Barnes isn't a grown man. He's a little kid accompanying Steve Rogers into World War II. And so they made the decision to say, well, okay, the reason he was there was to do all the crook stuff that Captain America couldn't be seen to do.
Yeah.
Like poisoning water supplies or like assassinating...
The good stuff.
Yeah, all the good stuff.
Doing all the good stuff. That's right. They had a lot of good ideas, but I tell you this, Mason, when they attended the premiere of this movie, they were put in the Overflow Theatre, not even the main one.
Okay.
And him and artist Steve Epting didn't get an invite to the after party, and they had to text Sebastian Stan directly to get in, which is fun.
Does that suggest, of course, James, that if you create a comic book character for Marvel, you get the phone number of whoever plays them later?
Yeah, and they have to pick you up from the airport.
That's so cool.
Now, Ed Brubaker has a line in this, right? And a cameo.
Okay.
So he says he gets more from his SAG residuals than what he did for creating this character. And he's talked about this multiple times, but he said that there's nothing preventing Marvel from looking over all the money that has been made from the reinvention of this character and calling him and Steve Epting and being like, hey, why don't we make this right and square this with you? Maybe they have since, because sometimes they do.
Yeah, I
But I
guess.
haven't heard anything official about this.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'd know.
We would.
No.
Anyways, this has been Caravan of Garbage. Come back next week because we'll be talking about Captain America's Civil War, the capping off.
Avengers 1.7.
Yeah.
Nearly all the way
Wouldn't
there.
it be 2 point
It'd be
something?
2 point something, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, because Age of Ultron's already happened. So
Etc. Yeah.
2-point-ish, you know.
I mean, it's not really a trilogy, is it?
Well-
1 and 2 kind of flow together, and 3 is
Yeah.
like, you have to have seen some other shit to like, get it?
Great question. We'll know upon a rewatch, won't
Yeah.
we? I reckon you could probably, if you were just
You muddle through it.
if you would, some guys or other guys.
Some guys,
It's like
some
it's
other
like
guys.
opening up a comic book when you're a kid. And you're like, I don't know who most of these guys are, but
Yeah.
they're going to turn each other's heads all the way around.
Boy, are they. Now, Mason, last week I attempted a flagpole climb.
Nearly nailed it.
Yeah, and people were like, oh, did you do that as a joke? People were probably thinking because I'm so athletic, I
sure.
pretended I couldn't climb a flagpole. And that's true, which is why I'm going to show people for real next week that I can actually do it.
Okay, prove all the haters wrong.
Yeah. Because I did, that was a joke.
First one was a joke, is what you're saying.
But the next one,
Because somebody who was there at the time, like live, holding
Yeah.
the camera,
Yeah.
it didn't seem like a joke.
no, but sometimes my humor is very subtle. And people know that.
So true.
Some people
We
know
are
it.
known to be very subtle, aren't we?
And this isn't because a bunch of people made comments that I'm a loser.
Yeah.
And sent me pictures and videos of them climbing various poles.
Including one from your brother,
Yeah,
who did
that's
it
right.
easily, apparently.
So listen, I'm not going to do a bunch of research and practice to make sure I can do it next week.
You're not going to Google how to climb pole.
No.
Okay.
But anyways, come back next week. It's going to happen. You can actually see that early at bigsandwich.co, where in addition to early videos, we do a comic book club where, of course, we covered the Winter Soldier comic book arc
That's right.
by Ed Brubaker. We also played Marvel Rivals.
Oh.
I gave that a go. I went online and pwned some noobs,
Did you
Mason.
pwn some noobs? Or were you, in fact, the noob that was pwned?
We'll have to sign up to see.
Okay.
We also do bonus podcasts. We do movie commentaries. It's $9 a month. It helps support this channel. You can also sign up, download everything. There's thousands of hours of stuff, and then unsign up We don't care.
That's right.
Or you can...
Because you can't get that $9 back.
Nah, we got it, man.
That's right.
Yeah. But also, you don't have to do any of that. You could maybe even listen to our podcast, The Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. We're going to be talking about Captain America, Brave New Bird.
That's right.
Very excited to step back into that maybe and hope it's good, maybe.
Yeah.
Fights Harrison Ford, maybe. Well, the CGI...
Fights a big red guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he does.
While the president looks on, I can only assume.
That's right. Anyways, thank you so much to Ben and Lawrence for the edit.
Thank you, Ben and Lawrence.
We'll see you in the next one.
Grab that gem, and guys, we'll see you real soon.